What is up, my Lorcana Goons, and welcome back to the Lorcana Goons channel. My name is Kevin, and you're joined with Zach and I for the weekly Friday Market Watch, where we go over Lorcana news, meta trends, and card prices. And Zach Stone, how's your week been in this ever growing modern Arcasia's Island format? As you can see here, we have a couple cards to talk about. Some cards that we haven't talked about in a while, actually. I've been playing a lot online, I've been watching a bunch of videos, and I've been seeing that there's a bunch of new decks that are popping off in popularity. But yeah, Zach, how are you doing this week?
Well, happy Friday, Kevin, and happy Friday, my Goon Squad. How's it going? How's it going? It's a lovely Friday today, and the week has been pretty good, uneventful. Nothing too crazy is going on. Just the usual stuff. Tomorrow I get to play some Lorcana, and I'm excited to talk about that. But first, yeah, this Hades has been going up. I think the last time we talked about this card, it was noticeably $1 more than Maleficent Dragon, and coming from the first chapter days and the era that was only first chapter, that's crazy to see. But now this Hades has completely gone up. We're seeing sales of 23, $24. Cold foils are even selling too. But yeah, Kevin, does this surprise you at all?
The reason this doesn't surprise me is because I've been personally seeing the rise of Blurple in the meta. Blue, Purple, Sapphire, Amethyst is such a popular deck right now. We've been seeing a lot of top name players use the deck in like some of these streamed tournaments, Twitter posts, and even some tier list stuff. I even put it in tier one in our tier list video that we dropped last week, and I think it's a really good deck. I think a lot of people agree, and yeah, you see it a lot online right now. So no surprise there why the Hades has been shooting up to lowest verified today. Dr. Nog's shop for $24. Pretty interesting right there. It's almost a $25 legendary now from the first chapter. Your Hades. People can play it in Sapphire Ruby, Sapphire Emerald, or even something like Sapphire Purple, which is probably one of the better decks that's floating around right now. I think it has a really good matchup against some of the opposing Maui Shark decks, like Ruby Amethyst or Ruby Sapphire. Maui Half Shark is still selling for around $60 today. Lowest verified is going to be Sarek TCG here for $60.99 still for your Maui Half Sharks, which is still an amazing card in the meta. I think this is like a perfect out to a lot of locations. The opposing Hades, anything with evasive, realistically. Like we've been saying, it feels like an evasive meta, right, Zach Stone?
100%. This is a card that I believe when you're deck building, you have to kind of build or have answers in your deck and build almost around that. Because if you're not, you're going to lose to this card. You can't disrespect Maui Shark right now in the meta. And cold foils today are $80 right now. It's insane for how high the shark has been going up to. If you want to get one from a verified seller, you're getting it for $85.35. Outside of that, yeah, there's not too many sellers that have more than just one copy, so you're going to have to get a bunch of different sharks from a bunch of different places. The card is very strong, and honestly at locals yesterday. This is the only loss I took into the finals against Red Blue, and it's hard to beat Shark, especially Vitalisphere giving it rush. So don't forget, there's a lot of ways to get that Shark to trigger on the turn you play it. The Sisu, however, is an incredible board wipe, and we're still seeing it float around $20 today. Four Horsemen's got you at the lowest price right now, and it's starting to stay at the same pace right now. I know a lot of Ursula's Return product is a little cheaper than other sets, so people are looking to buy some of it in hopes to pull some of the Chase Enchanteds. But if they get some of these legendaries like Sisu or Diablo, then I think it's worth the pull rates.
Yeah, not bad at all. Not a bad set at all. To open some packs from Ursula's Return. There's some decent legendaries, like you just mentioned. I'm surprised the card's still $20. I feel like this card's everywhere, just as much as the Maui Shark. When you're playing the Maui Shark, you're probably playing at least two copies of this Sisu as well in your deck. But they're still only $20. We've seen them as high as $30 before in the past. Cold foils are only $25 here by Top Deck Keep. Shout out you guys. There are locals in Southern California too, if I'm not mistaken. Let's talk about about Genie Wish Fulfilled today. The market price for Genie is sitting at 11.50. This card has just been going up in the last couple weeks, like we've been seeing. The lowest verified today is 11.42, and it sticks around that 11.42 to 12.50 game price right here by Game Chicken in the first couple of verified sellers. So very close to a very close to a $12 non-foil. Cold foils, it's looking like the scarcity is really hitting this week, from around $18 to $25 in the market price right here. Lowest verified today though is going to be 28.73 with some extra shipping costs right there by Darth EVTCG, then $30 by Penniless Card Shop. So this is getting very close to a $30 cold foil Zack Stone after these first three listings. The next listing is going to be $40 for your cold foil Genie Wish Fulfilled, man. Evasive meta, Amethyst, such a good color, you know. Aside from playing, building your deck to beat Maui Sharks, you also got to build your deck to beat genies nowadays right now. You know, I feel like they lose to Brawl, they lose to the Sisu packages and stuff like that, but really for the most part, like, unless you're playing evasive characters in your deck, that genie's gonna sit on the board, right?
Very strong character. It's also very good into the Diablo strategies that they're floating around. Blurple can play this card on turn 3, and it has a very high willpower, so you can start gaining that lore and questing early on to win that race. I do want to mention though that there's only a playset of cold foils available for about $30. Once those are gone, I'm looking at $40. If people end up paying that much, if it ends up getting competitively listed around that price, who's to know? I think it's laughable to look at the
The
$28,000.
last listing, right? It is the
There's
final
two of them.
listing.
There's two of them. Oh my
Yes.
gosh.
Yeah, yes. In case you wanted to spend 28 grand on a cold foil genie wish fulfilled, you can do so there by Extreme Games. That's an extreme price right there, if you ask me. But yeah, so maybe don't pay $28,000. $45 looks way cheaper than that by comparison. But yeah, like you were saying, after these $30 ones are gone, it's in $40, man. It's an expensive cold foil. Iago Spectral Parrot. This is another out to Diablo, by the way, like you were just saying. A lot of these evasive characters that are really good happen to also just be ways to eliminate Diablo from the board. Very important. Lowest verified today, 555 by Start Over, for a non-foil Iago, which by the way, this card comes in the starter deck foil. So it's very interesting that the non-foil is as high as $5 right now. 474 market price, but lowest verified is almost $6. Cold foils, there's going to be a lot of them because, like I just said, this is a starter deck card. But the price has been coming down. We did see some of these selling for as high as $15 last week, $20 even, which was a little ridiculous because, guys, you could have just bought the starter deck and you get one of these plus a pack and a bunch of other cards. You know what I mean? So yeah, that was kind of an interesting week to see the Iago blow up. But now the price is a little bit more understandable. I think $10 is still a lot though. Like I think it's still a lot. The Elsa Fit Spirit also comes in a starter deck, and that card was like way more played than Diago, and it wasn't here yet. But yeah, that's pretty expensive. The Peter Pan Shadow Finder, this card just shooting up in price. Another way to eliminate opposing Diablos. From a 25 cents card, Zach. 25 cents in the beginning of April. Boom, the ban list hits, and now the lowest verified is going to be $4.98 with some extra shipping right here by Rising Vu Gaming. Some non-verified sellers have it for $3.67 with some extra shipping, but you're paying $5, $4 to $5 for each copy of Peter Pan Shadow Finder. Cold foils, there's only 6 copies of these cold foils left, and they're starting at $20. King YGO has it for $19.82 with $1 shipping. They have 3 copies there for you in case you want to save some money on that. But after that, $23 for a light played by Haven Games, $23.50 by the Nerd Palace, $23.78 by Cardboard Diamonds, then $24.99 by One Eye Jacqua over here. That's going to be all the listings. Only 5 listings for a cold foil Peter Pan Shadow Finder, which will give all your evasive characters rush, by the way. So not only does this character out Diablo, but even if they have a Diablo at the Cove, you can play this character. Then the following turn, you play your Iago. Your Iago now has rush. He's a 4/6 body with evasive and rush because of this Peter Pan. Those combos are the reason why this card is going up in price, right, Zach?
Well, there's a lot of different reasons. I've always felt like this is a very strong card. I personally, I don't know if I've told you, but yeah, whenever I found a foil copy or bought in any foil copies, I've tucked them away, right? And I've had a bunch of these cards in my like bulk stacks, and I didn't move too many of them before the increase, so thankfully I still have a great amount. Do you have any copies of this card, Kevin?
Yeah, I have a couple. I mean, it's funny because in the last week, 2 weeks or so, people have been asking for like random bulk cards. I'll be looking through my stack of playables or my stack of like amethyst cards from set 4 or whatever. And as I'm going through, I'm like, oh, Peter Pan, oh, Peter Pan. You know what I mean? And a lot. That's the glory of buying in bulk. Sometimes, you never know what you're gonna find. You never know when there's an irrelevant card, and then a month, 2 months, a year later, the card becomes a $5 card. So very cool there. Want to talk about Daisy Duck's Donald's Dates. This card very important in this current meta. I think this is like the best way to combat the kind of control style meta we're in. Opening up a double Daisy has always been very good, and the card's been keeping it its steady price of $8 to $9. Market price $7.95 over here. Lowest verified is $8.75 though, shipping included by Crazy Deals. So shout out Crazy Deals over there. Almost $9 for the Daisy Duck Donald State, around 8.75. That's pretty cool. The cold foils also still pretty expensive. These are going to be more than $15 for your near mint cold foils. 15.65 by Tabletop Tournaments over here. Then TCG Southside 14.66. Shout out you guys, with a dollar shipping right there, for so $15 for Cold Foil Daisy, which is a very strong card, I think, in the current like control based format, because a lot of Sapphires running around. The Amethyst engine does help eliminate daisies really quickly, which is kind of a problem. But they have to open up Fox or Crab half the time. Elsa fits Spirit. I think with the rise of Diablo and other evasive characters, this Elsa becomes a very strong staple in the metagame. This card has been just bumping up in price too, from like $2 to $3 back up to $5 each for your non-foil Elsa. Corazon Cards here has it for $4.99 with $1.31 shipping. This card is one that I would always keep tucked away, Zach Stone. Foil or non-foil, they're still the same price right now, which is hilarious. $5.25 right here, or $4.95 also for a cold foil Elsa, by the same seller, Corazon Cards. But yeah, non-foils and foils are the same price because they come in the starter deck, right?
Yes, and as consistent as that isn't with the Iago, which is very interesting, that the cold foils and the normal versions aren't the same price there. However, this one is I think a little bit of a different story. I don't know if it's about how often or how much more printings were available this in comparison, or is the fact that it's just newer or not. But yeah, that's definitely something to think about. If the cold foils are the same price, why not get those? But the accessibility might be a big reason. Another card that I actually wanted to bring up today was Cricky. We saw normals just be at a solid dollar, but cold foils today are at 7.25. But the amount of listings are going down. We're noticing that Crickies are starting to get more popular in Amethyst to Emerald decks, or even some Emerald Steel decks. I know that there's a few lists floating around with 1 or 2 copies of Cricky. It's a very solid body. It's a good answer to locations with a lot of the low strength character stats that some Emerald strategies have. But overall, just a very solid card. Quest for 3 after you get it to use its on play ability, and it's inkable, so it's never like a bad brick.
Yeah, 725 is the lowest verified for your foil cookies right now by NerdPon, and after the first 4 or 5 listings, it starts to jump to $10. So very close, getting close to a $10 cold foil cricky, the lucky cricket right there. A sapphire coil was more than $10 at one point, Zach Stone. These were $12 a couple weeks ago. Nowadays, though, you're going to be paying $8.99 with 85-cent shipping by Good Times Game House, or $9.75 here by MPLS Card Exchange. So, really cool to see. If you've been wanting to pick up some recent cold foils from the Arcasia's Island set, I know there's a lot of people who like to master set their collection, and it's kind of hard to do so when some of these meta staples can be a little expensive. So, if you don't want to pay $15 per cold foil on these sapphire coils, you can pay $9 now even. Maybe you can find them a little cheaper in person. So that's a really cool deal right there. Moana, the Island Explorer. If you guys are opening up your set 7 boosters, and you pull this in a cold foil, put it to the side, because this is now a $5 cold foil. There's only 4 listings left. It's an uncommon from the most recent set. Swords and Boards is our lowest verified for $3.98 with $1.31 shipping, then $3.99, then $4.99 down here. So it's at least a $5 cold foil for our Moana Island Explorer. She's an evasive character with 4 strength and 3 willpower. Evasive, I'm telling you, you can give this character Rush with the Peter Pan Shadow Finder Zack Stone, and it makes this card a pretty reasonable threat on turn 4. And it has an ability that says whenever this character challenges another chosen character of yours gains +3 strength this turn, which is a pretty important ability sometimes. You can give your Elsa +3 strength, and now it can swing into a crab. I mean, a shark, a Maui half shark. You can give your other small evasive characters like Genie or Pegasus, an extra boost and make them swing into location. So it's a really cool card, actually.
Yes, I do like the ability to just take out locations, giving extra strength to a lot of different characters to just beat over stronger characters is very good too. And yeah, it's important to kind of pay attention to the meta game. The playables are something that we always consider. The cold foils are worth like setting aside. Time and time again, we all see something that just gets played once and goes up. So right now, the Prince John Gold Lever is something that does see a little bit of play in some Ruby Sapphire item decks. I know that it's a very well statted character, but its ability when it's exerted can play a 5 cost or less item from your discard or hand for free in exerted. However, that gets your Maurice's Workshops in play for free. That gets your Popsicles back from the discard to draw cards. And there's a little bit of a loop there with the gold coin. You don't get to do it every turn, but you can get some free card draw and get the ability to be played again on the following turn, which is pretty good. So I like this card personally. This is a card that Kevin and I did talk about when the Hiram Flavorsham ban announcement came up. So this is something to consider. There is that promo from the villainous. I don't know the exact name of the game itself, but it's villainous and has that promo one where he's sucking his thumb. So if you want to consider getting those two, that's something I would do.
Yeah, I like this card. I think it's a decent replacement in some of the Ruby Sapphire decks if you're playing a more item specific strategy. But it's either like this or Grandma right now, or like Scrooge, right? You have a lot of 4 cost characters you can play there. But it's a $3 cold foil now, basically. So if you guys have those, make sure you put them in your trade binders and you have them at the correct value. We gotta talk about Pirate's Life. I think Pirate's Life is so relevant this format. I feel like this card's everywhere. Maybe it's because I'm in love with this card. I'm just shoving it in all of my decks. Cold foil prices have been shooting up from $5 to $8. The market price is $8.50 for a cold foil. Lowest verified is $8.66 with $1 shipping by TCG Southside. Shout out you guys. So very close to $9 for your foil Pirate's Life, and it has been here before. We've seen these sell for around $15 at one point. I'm curious to see if it'll jump back up to that price. But Ruby Sapphire isn't the deck it used to be. Even though it is still one of the best decks of the format, I do think a lot of people are pivoting away from playing the deck without the Flaversham. A lot of people are on the DKP list, but some people don't like the idea of like controlling the game with sharks and manners. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people were very excited about using all of your items in succession, right? With this Tamatoa. But because of that, we have been seeing the Tamatoa fall down in price, not just the legendary, but the enchanted as well. A lot of listings are now less than $3.50. Lowest verified is $3.30 over here by Great Lands Games. Market price is still $3.92. But these recent sales are confirming a cheaper price point a little bit. We have one sale for $3.50 right here on the 21st, and then we have some others that are selling for $2.75, $2.99, $3.25. So yeah, some even selling for less than $300 now on TCG Player, which is really interesting to see. We're curious to see if these will sell at $3.30. Maybe you can find them for a little bit cheaper than $300 on another platform or something if you guys are checking outside of TCG Player. And then another enchant you want to talk about is going to be the Maleficent Staff. This is because we have DLC winner champion share a Diego Sauce, shout out level 9001, sharing a green purple list that he posted on Twitter today. And this is really fun. This looks like a really cool list. And he's playing 4 copies of Maleficent's Staff in his deck, which basically lets you gain 1 lore every time your opponent returns a character back to their hand. And he's playing a bunch of ways to remove, to bounce characters back to the opponent's hand, like Mother Gothel. We have Bounce, Mother Knows Best, Retrosphere, Emerald Chromacon. All of these cards will trigger your Maleficent Staff ability. And yeah, I like Dago Sauce. He's an awesome guy. He's a Lorcana Goons squad supporter. And he won a DLC, so he knows what he's talking about. These are super cheap right now. They're only $35 for each enchanted, and they've just constantly been going down and down since release. What do you think of this card, Zach Stone?
Yeah, I've always thought that this card was going to see some play one day, and it's funny to notice Diego is paying some attention to it. So I like that. I like that a lot, and it's a polarizing card with the Emerald Chromacon. I know there's only one copy of that in the deck, and I think it's just because you don't want to see it too often. The one copy might just stick forever, and that's all you need it for. But yeah, the ability to just pressure the opponent by questing, and if they decide to banish your characters in a challenge, they basically get punished because you're gaining more lore after you bounce their stuff back to hand. And you always have Clarabelle to refill, so all the bounce cards essentially give you more cards to draw later on. And that's very important to something like this. Rabbit's also a very important card. You get the extra card draw, and the ability to return it with your own other cards still is important to pay attention to. You are playing 4 copies of Bounce in this list, but this isn't a deck meta video. This is a market watch, but I like this a lot. So go ahead and try it. And if you feel like the Maleficent Staff is a good call, go ahead and get your Enchanteds while they're at a low price today.
Right. Yeah. This, you never know. This could be the next best deck. But it's really cool to see top players share some spicy deck lists on Twitter, online and stuff. If you guys have those social media platforms, make sure you're following Lurkana Goons. Really quick, I want to talk about the Donald Duck Flustered Sorcerer Enchanted from Arcasia's Island, mainly because this card hasn't really come down in price since its a release. Like obviously out the gate, pre-order numbers are crazy, but it's been sticking around $100 to $110 since it's been out, right? It is from the most recent set, so I don't expect it to fall down too much in price, but still, $105 with $1 shipping by Local House MTG is your lowest verified for this Donald Duck, the Dark Magician Donald, as I like to refer to it as, because of the way it looks. And I think it just goes to show that Donald Duck is a collectible character in the Lorcana space. So I think for the future of the game, whenever a Donald Duck Enchanted comes out, I think it's pretty safe to say that it's going to be a decent hit. You know what I mean? I would like to, I wouldn't mind pulling this enchanted out of all the enchanteds. So that's pretty cool to see. And then lastly, I want to talk about these D23 collections that have been just tumbling down in price, my goons. Check this out. These were selling for like 270. Market price was 250, 260 beginning of April, and then boom, they just came crashing down. Market price is now 208. Lowest verified is 179 with 20 cents by the bank over here. You can buy these for less than $200 now on TCG Player if you guys want to find them online. I know a lot of people have been waiting for these. I know they did the recent announcement of those restocks that we did that video on, right? Where people were able to get them in a lottery. And I don't know if they've arrived yet or what, but it seems like there's a bunch more in the market at way less prices, like $80 difference from now to literally a month ago, which is really
It,
interesting to see. I'm curious to know what happened. Why are you guys buying them? Even the singles, the single cards. We looked at it on Monday. The Vanellope, the Bruno. Some of them are like $15 right now. Like a lot of people have either been opening them up and just listing them online or cracking them or just selling them for the $80 profit. But it looks like a lot of them are available now. What are your opinions, Zach?
this is a shocker, 100%. I knew that they had more introduced with that lottery, but yeah, the amount must have been pretty egregious for this price to go that low right now, and it's happening a little sooner than I'd like. I'm still, I still have the 4, but I had a couple at the booth that I'm going to just tuck away now because I don't see myself wanting to sell it for around like almost a similar price to what I bought it in for. And this is again just something that you got to be considering whenever you make purchases in this TCG space. I know that the value isn't going to go below what like it was actually originally an MSRP for. So it's a good sign that it's still having value if you got it in at that price. And I know that the lottery you had to still purchase it at that price. You weren't just giving it away for free, which would have been cool. But yeah, this is something to really consider. Um, this isn't necessarily something that I look at as like a doomer thing. Just really consider like why you're getting these things in the first place. If you're buying for something that's like more long term, I think it's definitely worth it. But if you're just trying to get in and get out, yeah, that might not be the time right now.
Yeah, I agree. Overall, collect what you like. You know what I mean? If you like them, collect them, own them. But yeah, like you said, that's the risk of when vendors buy stuff in. I definitely bought one of these in two not that long ago, and I cracked it open to sell the six singles out of it. And I want to say like two or three of them have sold so far before this price dip. But now that the price is dipping, it's like, oh wow, if I would have kept it sealed, then I basically would have, had paid the equal amount of the market price now. But yeah. I really hope you guys are holding on to these if you plan on holding them like long term, like he was saying. Like definitely, if you want to hold it for like, if you don't mind holding it for like years, then definitely don't panic sell for no reason. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people do that. But if you're just kind of like collecting like as like a pastime and it's not something you're like super committed to, don't feel bad about getting rid of it for this price. But yeah, it'll go up, it'll go down. It is what it is. We've been playing card games for so long. We've seen this happen plenty of times. Really, the big shock to me was when they announced they were doing the restocks, but when they announced that, I figured these were gonna go down in price. You know what I mean? They definitely released enough for them for people to be like, oh, I'll just resell this for $80, right? No, it's not that big a deal. But that's gonna be all for our Friday weekly market watch. My Lorcana goons, thank you so much for sticking around to the end of this video. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe because it does support the channel. We're at like 7,200 subscribers. Almost 1,000 people have joined our Discord so far, so that's really awesome to see. We really appreciate you guys for watching, and good luck to anybody playing tournaments, including Zach Stone this weekend up here, man. Zach, do you know what deck you're gonna play?
Right now I'm still a little unsure. I'm probably just stick to my bread and butter, but I like Blurple. I like the cards and the value that I see in that color combination. Shout outs to Rob from Red Saber Games. I'm going to his mini Grand Prix at Collectible Exchange in Rancho Cucamonga. So if you're in that area, definitely come visit. Come say hi. Hey, come play if you got time. He's a very good guy. Got some excellent singles. I won't be at the show tomorrow, but I will have some people there. Kevin, where can people find you this weekend?
Yeah, I'm gonna be at I'm gonna be at Ninja Exchange, in the city of Carlsbad, North San Diego County, Southern California. If you guys are ever in that area, I'm there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday with all your Lorcana needs. Zach Stone is at Frankensons most of the time, unless he's playing tournaments like tomorrow. I wish I could play Zach. Good luck. You gotta win it. You gotta win it for both of us. You gotta win it for Lorcana Goons, bro. Wish everyone some good luck to Zach tomorrow, so he can come back a champion of the Red Saber Games Grand Prix. That'd be really fun to see. Then you can share your deck list, right? Because we don't like gatekeeping on this channel. No, we like to share. We like to share all the information. Sorry about not dropping a meta type video this week. I needed to catch up with the just with my life and stuff. I did stream yesterday on Thursdays, so Thursday streams we've been committed there. That's been good. So if you guys want to check out some live gameplay, there's a new video up there too. And then this Saturday we will have tomorrow we will have another video up of an episode with Quest with a guest with the owner of Southside Gaming. So yeah, we look forward to that. Hopefully you guys can check those videos out this weekend. But let us know how they are in our Discord, right? But until then, remember to stay tuned to Lurkana Goons, and we'll see you goons next time.